Hello everyone. In this video we are going to talk about the outline for paper number 2, Born a Crime. So up on Cobra you'll find the link to it in the paper number 2 folder in the subfolder Writing the Paper. So this is going to be the same sort of setup as your outline for paper number 1. Here in these bulleted points, it kind of goes over the reminders that you need, and then below I have the structure set up the same way. So a lot of you just copied this part, pasted it into a Word document, and you just filled it out there. Again, doing that is fine. So for your introduction, you're going to fully explain who Trevor Noah is, his TV show, how people may know him, and fully explain what his book is about. Make sure you include the title of his book in italics. And then the last sentence is going to be your thesis statement, all right? And this is where you'll be defining what it means to be born a crime to you, as well as how apartheid affected Trevor's life. Now this might be one sentence for you, or you might separate it into 2 sentences, and that's fine. It just needs to be at the end of your introduction. So remember, when you're thinking of your audience, assume that they have never read this book, they don't know who he is. This is your chance to explain that. Okay? Because remember, your paper needs to be 1,400 words long. That's just the essay, just the paragraphs you're writing. And then you're going to have 3 to 5 pies paragraphs where you're going to argue, for your definition of what it means to be born a crime and how it affected Trevor Noah's life. There might be a possible counter argument to this paper, but I really don't see one at this time. It's up to you if you think there is. And then finally, conclusion. After reading the book, what is the biggest lesson people can learn from reading about what it means to be born a crime and how apartheid affected people? Alright, so make sure you include your quotes from the book for your pies paragraphs. Again, when you write this, it's going to be, the more you put into it, the more you'll have for your rough draft. Now with paper number 1, some people went into a lot of detail in their outline. That's fine. Others, they kept it simple and they kept it as a plan, and that's fine too. Okay, so it's up to you how much you put into the outline. Remember, you can use up to 2 sources on your own for this paper, but it's not required, but you have to get those approved by me. And this outline is due in the Dropbox with the works cited before 11:59 on Wednesday, October 21st. Remember, this is due before the questions for the chapters. So when we look at the introduction then, you're going to explain who Trevor Noah is, how people know him, explain the book, apartheid, all that stuff. And then you're going to put in the thesis, what does it mean to be born a crime, and how did apartheid affect Noah's life. And then you're going to come up with your reasons. So you could come up with, maybe 2 reasons, or 2 things of how it means to be born a crime, and that could be paragraph number 2 and 3. Okay, and then you use things from the book to help support that. And then maybe your next couple of paragraphs is how apartheid affected Trevor. Okay, so you're answering the first part of the thesis with the first 2 body paragraphs, and then the second part of the thesis with the next 2 body paragraphs after that. Okay, or you could say, I'm going to come up with 4 things that come up with why a person was born a crime, and then in each of those paragraphs I'm going to show how Noah was affected by apartheid and how it all connects with one another. Okay, so it just depends on how you look at this. Again, the counter argument, that's entirely up to you. If there is one, there really just might not be one for this paper, and that's okay. Just remember that for any good argument you have, addressing the opposing side is always important, and that's why it's always important to think about that kind of paragraph. But in certain things that you write, you might not have one. And then finally, your conclusion, which is your shortest paragraph. Okay, so please let me know if you have questions while you're writing your outline. Remember, this is due in the Dropbox before 11:59 Wednesday, October 21st, with your works cited. The works cited is going to be really easy because there's only one source that you need, and I'll make a quick video showing how to do that. And so you'll find that as well in the Writing the Paper folder. Alright, so get started on that, and then let me know if you have any questions.